Hello my friends, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 19 called Rest. And in this lesson today we're going to take a bit of a break, a rest from our normal violin playing mindfulness. And we're going to be thinking about rosining the bow. And I tell you why I think this has a place in a mindfulness course, because there are different ways of thinking about rosining the bow. There are people who rosin their bow and do it just for a moment before each play without actually giving it some proper attention. However, I think when you do rosin your bow properly, with a proper mindful application to rosining your rosin will last much longer and you will learn to feel through the bow much better. And that is my reason for including rosining your bow in a mindfulness course. So let's go ahead and let's start to rosin our bow. Now the first thing we need to do, and I've got a viola bow here that is in desperate need of some rosin, so this is why I'm going to use this bow. First of all, we're going to tighten the hair of the bow. You'd be surprised at how many people try to rosin their bow without it being tight, and that is near impossible to do. So I tighten my bow so that I've got a finger width space, more or less, at the narrowest part between the stick and the hair. So once we've got that, let's get the rosin out. And I like my rosin to be really nice and shiny and evenly used. I sometimes see people's rosins and they have a big groove in the middle, which means that you can't at some point actually use the two sides of the rosin very well anymore. So I like to turn my rosin as I rosin my bow, so that it gets very evenly used. It makes rosining easier. Now, one thing that I absolutely hate is when I lend my rosin to someone and I get it back like this, all chipped on the sides. Can you see that? And the reason why that happens, most likely, is that someone has bashed it into the metal part here of the bow. So what I'm doing is I'm covering that metal part of the frog here with my thumb. So if I'm going to bash into it, I'm going to bash into my thumb and not into the metal, so I don't get this chipped piece of rosin. Now what I sometimes see is how people rosin their bows is they do it like this. So they move the bow over the rosin and hardly any rosin is coming off onto your bow in that way. So I like to do it the other way. So I turn my bow over, cover the heel with my thumb, and then I'm going to rosin very short sections of the bow, and I'm going to stick to the same section until I can see the white powder coming off. There we are. I don't know if you can see that, but you see maybe here that there is some rosin accumulating right there. So once I've done about 10 centimeters, I'm going to turn the rosin a little bit and then do the next section of about 10 centimeters. Again, until I see the rosin coming off. And it depends on the type of rosin that you use, how long that will take. Now this is really soft rosin. This is Parastro Gold, so that comes off really easily, but it may well be that you need to be at it a little bit longer and perhaps also press a little bit harder. Now I've done about 2 sections of 10 centimeters now, and I'm just going to blend it in like this. And then I'm moving up a little bit. And I'm well aware that this video is very much like some of the makeup videos that you can find on YouTube. Sorry, that was not my intention. Here's my next section. And again, I blend it in with the bit that I've already done before I then move on. I turn my rosin again. And when you do it this way, you can also gauge which parts of your bow will absorb more rosin before you move on, and which parts actually have got enough rosin. So you get to know much more about your bow when you do it this way. And then once you've done another 10 centimeters, blend it in with the rest. And I'm turning it again. Now it gets a bit harder. And this is strong stuff. If you feel like me, that gets to your lungs a little bit, there is hypo-allergenic rosin on the market that sort of irritates a little bit less. Some people get really itchy eyes when they rosin their bows. So for those people, if that's you, you might also consider getting some of that stuff. Then I blend it in again. Next section, and we're getting there. And I can really feel that this upper section of the bow needs a lot more rosin. There we are, blending it in again, and my last little section. All the way really up to the point of the bow there. And just blending it in. There we are. Now then, once I've covered the whole bow, there is a fair amount of rosin in my bow now. So what I do next is I just swish it like this, and some excess rosin will fall out. I don't know if you can see now, there's quite a bit of rosin on the stick now. So next I'm getting my duster and I'm just taking the rosin off the stick like that. There's inevitably falling quite a bit of rosin on the stick, and we don't want it there, so I'm taking it off. And there you have a very, very well rosined bow. Now if you have got excess bits of rosin lying around that are chipped off bigger pieces of rosin, what I do with that, I'll show you. There is quite a bit of rosin that goes through this house here, so I collect it all in a pestle, and with a mortar I'm just crunching it all up so that it becomes a nice powder. And this powder is ideal for rosining bows that haven't been rosined for a while, or that are very empty of rosin. I'm doing this over my bin because this is quite a messy job, and this is how I do it. I grab a bit of this powder into a little cloth, and then I get the bow through this loose rosin, and you'll find that it's much easier to get the rosin in between the hairs of the stick. Now please don't tell me you've just rosined this bow, why are you putting more on? I'm just demonstrating this. Okay, and then I'm shaking it all out. Now this is, like I said, this is quite messy, but that is a nice way of getting rid of little chips of rosin if you've got some, and also a very easy way to rosin a bow that hasn't been rosined in a while. If you have any comments or suggestions for our community of players that are following this course, please write them down in the comments section down below this video. And something that I meant to say a couple of lessons ago already, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please click that red button here in the corner so you can subscribe to this channel and get updated whenever a new video is released. I very much look forward to seeing you in lesson 20. Goodbye.